Welcome back to Dynamics. Okay, another movie review. Let's talk about Conclave. I saw Conclave a few weeks back, maybe like almost even a month ago back now. So it's been a while, before I'm getting the chance to actually review it, unfortunately. But the movie review portion of it should be, just like normal. No, shouldn't be a problem. I do want to do a second video where I talk about the religious side of things because I'm a Catholic, and so I do want to talk about that. So that'll be a separate video. We'll see if how it comes out though, because again, it's been a while. When it was fresh, I really did kind of have some feelings about it that I really wanted to go over. So we'll see how it goes now that it's been kind of a while since I watched it. But okay, let's do the typical movie review. All right, director Edward Berger. Writer is Peter Strahan, yeah, and Robert Harris. The stars: Ralph Fiennes, Stanley Tucci, and John Lithgow. Really, really good cast for this movie. But let's talk about them a little bit here. Okay, so Ralph Fiennes plays Cardinal Lawrence. It just says Lawrence, but is it Cardinal or Archbishop? I think it's Cardinals. Let's see. Yeah, so in the description, when Cardinal Lawrence is tasked with leading one of the world's most secretive and ancient events, selecting a new pope, he finds himself at the center of a conspiracy that could shake the very foundations of the Catholic Church. So that's the premise, right? Cardinal Lawrence, all of the individuals in the conclave are cardinals, and they are selecting a new pope. So Cardinal Lawrence is played by Ralph Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes is from a bunch of stuff, but let's see what they say. The Constant Gardener, Schindler's List is probably one where he's like most well known from. The Avengers. Who did he play? 1998 Avengers. That's weird that that's showing up in the top four. All right, and the Grand Budapest Hotel. All right, what else has he done? He's actually doing The Return, which is coming out. I'm excited about that. That looks super interesting. He was Macbeth in another version of Macbeth. The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar and Three More. Okay, let's go down to some other ones that that are more familiar to us. The Menu. If you guys hadn't seen The Menu, definitely check that out. He's really good in it, and it's great movie. The King's Man. Let's see. He was in No Time to. Oh, he was M in No Time to Die. That's right. That's right. So he was M in a lot of the Bond movies with the latest Bond. Why? Oh man, I hate it when names just pop out of my head. Daniel Craig. Yeah. So he was the M to Daniel Craig's Bond. Okay. Anything else? Any other movies that what he was in? No, what are you doing? My computer, sometimes it does weird stuff. All right, what else was he in? I'm trying to think of like one of the big movies. Ooh. Yeah, so he was Voldemort in the Harry Potter movies, so that's a big one. I'm surprised that's not up in the top. He was Hades in Clash of the Titans. He was in The Hurt Locker. He was in interesting. Red Dragon. That's the movie I was trying to get to. He was Francis in Red Dragon, which is the movie that's kind of like an offshoot or kind of connected to the Hannibal Lecter stuff. Great actor, really he is. And in this movie, he does great in the role. I really enjoyed him playing that. He's kind of like finding this line between being very dutiful and very dedicated to the church and dedicated to being, a cardinal in the church. But he's also experiencing doubts and having questions, and something that honestly most of us as Catholics do experience a lot of doubt. It's something that you just experience along with something that you have to have faith in. But anyways, he does a really good job of portraying that. We'll go into some of the other stuff in a little bit. Who else is in this movie? Spent a lot of time on Ralph Fiennes. Stanley Tucci is Cardinal Bellini in this. What else do you know Stanley Tucci from? Tons of stuff. But what did they list? The Big Night, Lovely Bones, Spotlight, Julia and Julia, or Julie and Julia. That's an interesting selection of movies. Let's see what else. What do we know him from? The Kingsman. Yeah, he was United States ambassador in The Kingsman. Um, let's see. I'm surprised that he is a character actor. So, but I would expect to know a lot more of these. He in Beauty and the Beast. He was Maestro Cadenza, the live action. He was in Peter and Wendy. He was Captain Hook, Mr. Darling, Dr. Weil. Um, he was in the Hunger Game movies. He was Caesar, Caesar Flickerman. A lot of people know him from that. Um, Muppets Most Wanted, Ivan the Guard. All right, all right. That's far enough back. It's fine. Um, yeah, he does a lot of stuff, and very popular character actor. You see him tons of stuff. All right, John Lithgow. All right, let's see what they're gonna say. He plays Cardinal Tremblay. Obviously, the voice of Farquaad in Shrek. What do they say? He's known for The World According to Garp, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the Eighth Dimension. So funny. Okay, all right. So weird the choices that he was in Cliffhanger, which I could see that one. Love is Strange. All right, so what's he been in more recently? Killers of the Flower Moon. Um, let's see. He was in. Oh, he was. No, he was like in one episode of Dexter. So no. Perry Mason. I think he was in more episodes of the original Dexter. Let's see if we get to that. He was in The Crown TV series. Pet Cemetery. He was Judd in the 2019 Pet Cemetery. Tomorrow Man, he was Ed. He was in Pitch Perfect 3, I guess. Let's see. I'm trying to get to back to when he was more famous. Great actor though, all around. All around. Yeah, so in the original Dexter series, he was in 12 episodes. I think he was one of the big overarching villains, Arthur Mitchell. I didn't ever watch that, but I know. And then of course he was in oh, that's not what I was thinking of. All right. Third Rock from the Sun. Yes, that's what I was thinking of. He was in that series for a really long time. And then let's get to some of his classic movies here. No. The Pelican Brief, The Wrong Man, Raising Cain, Ricochet, Memphis Belle, Traveling Man, Distant Thunder, The Manhattan Project. He was in Footloose. Yeah, he was Reverend Shaw Moore in Footloose. Twilight Zone. So the infamous episode where he's on the plane. So good. Let's see. All right. All right. Okay, good enough. Good enough. Great actor. I love his stuff. Tons of stuff. We have Cardinal Adeyemi is played by Lucien Mazmati. What do we know? Lucien, anything? Do we know him from anything? He looked familiar. See How They Run, The International. The New Breaking Point. The Score. Okay. Let's see what else. Who else is in this movie? Jacek Koman is Cardinal Wozniak. I don't think we know him from anything. I think he's a he, oh yes, yes, he was in Moulin Rouge. That's where I knew him from. Holy crap! Yeah, he was the unconscious Argentinian. Defiance. He was in Defiance. He was in Children of Men, Top of the Lake. Very cool. Very cool. See, I'm trying to see if anybody else here is recognizable. For some reason, I'm thinking there's someone else in here who's somewhat famous that most people would know. But the one that I wanted to get to was Carlos Diaz. It's spelled Diehz. I don't know if it's pronounced Diaz, like, but Carlos. He played Cardinal Benitez. Um, by the way, he is. It says how old he is somewhere in here, right? I think he's in his 50s, and this was like his first real movie. And he is amazing in this, like really, really good. Um, it's like his kids left that his kids became adults, and he's like, oh, I want to find a hobby, something I can do now that I'm an empty nester. And he decides to start acting, and all of a sudden is in like a big movie like this, relatively big movie like this, in a relatively big part. It's pretty amazing. I really enjoy it. All right, so to the movie. Basically, what happens is the current pope dies before the movie starts, so you don't see that happen. He is dead at the beginning of the movie, and they are asking questions about how he died and what were the circumstances, and because they weren't expecting him to pass away, but because cardinals and archbishops and the popes are usually pretty old by the time they get to that point in their lives. And so, it's not super shocking, but he was relatively young for that position, and they weren't expecting him to pass away. So they were doing the normal, they got to question what happened, and then it moves on to, okay, well, we have to elect a new pope. Ralph Fiennes' character is in charge of some sort of, I'm forgetting the title that he had, but basically he was in charge of some sort of administrative role, and so his role is he's supposed to be in charge of electing, or in charge of the election process for naming the next pope. And so, to those who aren't familiar with it, I'll get into it in more detail in the next video. But basically, all the cardinals get together. They have hidden ballot voting until they come to a majority consensus on who the next pope is going to be. And there's a certain number of votes that you got to get to, and basically what they believe is they pray on it, and the Holy Spirit guides the vote, and that's how you get to the election of the new pope. This movie obviously focuses it more on it being a political thing, right? And I'll get into that more in the other video. But this is like political intrigue, and they're wheeling and dealing behind the scenes to figure out who the next pope is going to be, and some controversies and backstabbing and all the stuff that you would think of when you think of electing like a president or other political type office. And so they're saying that's happening here, obviously. We'll talk about it more in the other video. And so they keep having hidden ballots, and things keep coming up and happening. It's a drama. It's kind of a mystery, a little bit of a mystery there. Some thriller, not some thriller aspects, but suspense type thing. But not like horror suspense, more like drama suspense. And then eventually they come to a surprise choice for the next pope. And without spoiling the movie, basically, then there's an additional surprise after the pope is selected, and I don't want to spoil that all for you. So in the next video where I talk about like the religious side of things, I'll get into it. So there will be spoilers in the next video. So if you plan on watching this movie, maybe skip that video. And yeah. Overall, I'm almost sure it's not in the theaters anymore. Actually, you know what? Maybe it is. Let me see here. Let me go to a local theater near me. Okay. There we go. We will go here. One of the bigger theaters in the area. Doesn't look like it. I mean, it's still listed in current movies, but if you're able to find it in a theater near you, definitely watch it. I enjoyed it. I would recommend for people who like those type of movies to go check it out. It'll be on streaming soon enough, I would imagine. So if you want to wait for it to come out on streaming, this one would be a fine movie to see streaming. Overall, I enjoyed it. Hopefully, you guys do too. Hopefully, you enjoyed the movie review. And the next video is going to get a little into the religion of the thing, the church. Not so much the religion and faith side of things, but more the church side of things. But anyways, all right, everybody, take care. Have a good day.